Welcome to this explainer on safely feeding your houseplants. Look, if you've ever stared at those little bottles of liquid plant food feeling completely intimidated, or maybe you've heard horror stories about scorching delicate roots, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to turn you from a hesitant plant parent into a confident plant nutritionist. We're breaking down the science of fertilizing into simple, incredibly actionable steps.
Okay, so here's our straightforward roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Why houseplants need food. 2. Decoding the NPK label. 3. Types of plant fertilizer. 4. Golden rules of fertilizing. And finally, 5. Spotting fertilizer trouble. It's basically plant nutrition broken down into logical, bite-sized pieces so you never have to fear fertilizer burn ever again.
All right, let's jump into section 1. Why houseplants need food. The potted plant dilemma.
So, let's start with a really common frustration. Your plant's light is perfect, your watering schedule is totally dialed in, but it just completely stopped growing. Picture this, you bring home this gorgeous new trailing plant, you watch it push out vines all summer long, but then its second spring rolls around, and it just halts. No new leaves, no new vines, it just looks kind of sad and tired. Naturally, you might scramble to tweak the watering or move it to a brighter window, but absolutely nothing changes. You've got to ask yourself, is your plant simply resting, or is it literally running on empty?
Well, here is the underlying science behind that exact dilemma. Out in nature, plants get this constant natural buffet of nutrients from decaying organic matter right there in the ground. But your houseplant? It lives in a highly artificial environment. It's working with a very limited amount of potting mix. And unlike out in nature, every single time you water that potted plant, some of those essential nutrients wash right down the drain. After a few months, that soil is completely depleted of the essential vitamins needed to build new leaves and roots. So, fertilizer? It's simply your way of restocking that empty pantry.
Moving right along to section 2, decoding the NPK label, the vitamin breakdown. Now that we know why they need it, let's figure out what it actually is. We're going to completely demystify those intimidating chemical numbers you always see plastered on the front of fertilizer bottles. You know, like 10-10-10 or 5-10-5. Those stand for the 3 major macronutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Honestly, just think of NPK as up, down, and overall health. It is the exact blueprint of macronutrients your plant needs to thrive. Nitrogen is up. It promotes all that lush, green, leafy growth above the soil. Phosphorus is down and all around, supporting strong root development below the soil, plus flowering and fruiting. And potassium? That's overall health, helping the plant regulate water and fight off diseases like a champ.
So, here's the absolute crucial takeaway for the vast majority of your indoor jungle. You do not need to stress over complicated chemical ratios. A perfectly equal, balanced fertilizer, where all 3 of those numbers are exactly the same, like a 10-10-10, is hands down your safest, most effective, all-purpose choice to hit every single category of plant health.
Which brings us to section 3, types of plant fertilizer. Choosing your routine. Let's figure out how you can choose the right delivery method for these nutrients based entirely on what works for your personal schedule. You generally have 2 paths here, and honestly, both are completely valid. Over on the left, we've got liquid fertilizer. These are concentrates you mix right into your watering can. They're incredibly fast-acting and offer brilliant control if you're the diligent type, mainly because you can adjust the strength with every single watering. But yeah, they do require a regular routine. Now, on the right, we have slow-release fertilizer, which usually comes in granules or spikes. These are fantastic if you want a totally hands-off approach. You basically set it and forget it for months at a time, and it'll last a whole growing season. The flip side, though, is they're much harder to control once they're in the soil, and they can be a bit of a hazard if you have curious pets or kids who love digging in the dirt.
All right, section 4, golden rules of fertilizing, how to feed safely.
Okay, now that we've got our plant food and understand how it works, we absolutely must follow a few golden rules to ensure we're nourishing our plants rather than harming them. Seriously, this is the most important part of your routine. You've got to execute this chronological process every single time to avoid a disaster. Step 1, ensure it's actually spring or summer. Plants go completely dormant in the winter. Do not feed a sleeping plant. Step 2, mix a heavily diluted solution. Honestly, forget what the bottle says right off the bat. Start with just half the recommended strength. Step 3, and this one is huge, thoroughly wet the soil with plain water first. Never ever pour fertilizer on bone-dry soil. And finally, step 4, apply your diluted fertilizer to that pre-moistened soil to protect those delicate roots from scorching.
It all boils down to this brilliantly simple safety motto:
weekly. The absolute #1 cause of fertilizer burn is just using way too much product. A very weak dilution fed more frequently is always a safer, superior approach than hitting your plant with a rare, highly concentrated, heavy dose. Just treat it like a gentle, ongoing vitamin supplement rather than slamming an intense energy drink.
Let's move to our final section, Section 5, Spotting Fertilizer Trouble, Listening to Your Plant. Look, even with the absolute best intentions, things can sometimes go awry. So, let's learn how to decode the distress signals your plant might be sending you. Because your plant will absolutely tell you if it's getting too much food. If you notice a crusty white salt buildup sitting on the surface of your soil or around the rim of your terracotta pots, yeah, that is unabsorbed fertilizer. Even more alarmingly, if you see dark brown or black, crispy leaf edges, even when you know you're watering perfectly, you have likely overdone it and caused fertilizer burn. Other big red flags include sudden wilting or completely stunted growth. If you see any of this happening, stop feeding immediately and flush the soil with lots of plain water to wash all those excess salts away.
I want to leave you with this absolutely vital thought for your plant care journey. Always ask yourself, does your plant actually need to be fed right now? Or is it simply winter and time for a well-deserved rest? Before you ever reach for that bottle of fertilizer, check the season, check the soil, and really listen to what your plant is telling you. Because if it's spring and it's primed to grow, you now have the exact knowledge to fuel it safely and beautifully. So, what's your plant trying to tell you today?